So I guess like the similar questions to that, because you've mentioned the extra colours, which kind of seem to almost bring an extra storyline in a way that it kind of the storyline of Tear came with the extra colours. So were there kind of directions the book moved in that you didn't see coming? I mean, you've obviously ended up, or you're going to end up publishing 5 books instead of 3. So how was it that the story morphed since your original plans?
Well, I think it came from the Night Angel trilogy was my first series, and I had a really clearly defined, when I boiled it down. Okay, I want to have really great climaxes in these books. So at the end of book 1, your assassin is going to kill this guy, and in the end of book 2, okay, so. Well, should I do spoilers or not? So in the end of book 2, he's going to kill the guy that usually he wouldn't kill until the end of book 3. And at the end of book 3, he's going to go against something, completely mind-blowing. And like, okay, well, those are your 3 points. Now you just got to get there, right? So that was fairly straightforward. But when I published those, it was my first books, and the third book was a lot longer than the first 2 books. And I was, I got some pressure to cut that down. And I was like, oh my God, if I don't cut it, I might not get published. They might fire me. and it had been, 6 years, and there was nobody else knocking on my door very much. So it was like, I got to take what they said. So I trimmed stuff from the third book to bring down the word count. And I sort of, like, I still had it happen. I just had it happen like, this happens off stage, off screen. Other people are still doing other things. And this guy goes into the woods and something happens and he comes out and this happens. So, and I kind of, that had some good points in that it focused on the main characters and it kept things moving along. And you sort of feel like, I hope the readers felt like, we're crashing along through the end. It's like, oh my God, it's going so fast. Everything is happening all at once, and boom, and then you're done, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to read that again. I hope. But it had the bad thing of there were characters who experienced things that I didn't feel like I was able to wring the full reader response out of, and like emotional arcs that, like, okay, well, Fear goes and he does this thing off in the woods, and then he comes out. Okay, I guess that's fine.
I didn't really know
so I didn't
I was reading it in a way, so I guess that's a good thing for you, if that makes you feel any better.
Right. Well, so I thought, I don't want to do that again. I want to. There's a lot of dangers of being an epic fantasy author, and there's dangers to success. There's dangers to it's easy to forget that you as the author live in this world all the time, and you care about some of these side characters and nobody else does. So I will, there was a fantasy author who shall remain nameless. And I remember reading, 200 pages about some river merchant who got introduced in like book 6 or something. And I'm like, I don't care. Please don't make me read about this moron, and it was like, well, I'm sure he was very interested in this river merchant, so I try to keep myself from doing that. But on the other hand, being like, okay, I think I can make you care about, this new character that I introduced, Tia. I think I can make you care about her, even though she isn't in the first book, or I don't even know if she appears in the first book. I think we can attach to her. So I think she's not a minor, I think I can bring her from being a minor character to being a major character and carry you along and experience different. To the world. So the length of the books got. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So
yeah,
it went a bit crackly for a second when you just started talking about Tia. when you said you brought her from being a minor character to a major character. But,
yeah, right. And we got to see we get to see parts of the world Tia's perspective, because she goes places and she does things that none of the other characters do. So she adds richness and depth to the world, and she has a different outlook. Socially, she has a different outlook. Magically, she has a different outlook. And she's with different kinds of people. So I wanted to not short circuit the drama in this series. Unfortunately, it also adds a lot of pages, and so you're sitting there, and I've never written a 1,000,000-word epic fantasy, and there's certain things you can only learn by doing, I suppose. So when I decided not to short circuit some of these things, it's like, well, I could just kill this person. This would make this a little shorter. We wouldn't have to deal with their plot line anymore. When I didn't want to short circuit things that way, it just added to the page count. So was I a little surprised? Yeah, I'd be going along and I'd be like, oh wow, well there goes 100,000 words, and now we're really into things. Oh gosh, there goes 200,000 words, and like, okay, now it's really a big book. And with the Broken Eye, it's like, wow, we are past 300,000 words. That's really, really big, and I'm trying not to kill readers with the length. So I'm going really far afield here.
Brandon Sanderson and Patrick Rothfuss are like, Brent Weeks is trying to steal our niche.
Yeah, right. But if you're mortal, that also slows things way down. I mean, I've gone from I took 2 years to write each of the Night Angel books, and now I'm writing books that are sometimes twice as long, and still doing it 2 years, and it's brutal. I mean, you're working all the time. So there comes there comes a point where you want to make sure that the books are coming out regularly, but you also want to preserve the art of it. Like, every book needs to, it needs to be a book. It needs to be a separate novel. It needs to stand on its own. It needs to be about something. And how you do that in a really long series is challenging. Like, there need to be, if it's going to be 5 books, there better be 5 high points. Yeah. Like, and so when I look at word count and go, okay, well, this is getting really long. Am I focusing too much on characters who don't matter to readers? Does this have a reason to be a book? Is there not only plot arc to this book that makes sense? Like, a big thing is going to happen, and then either it happens or it doesn't happen. And is there thematic arcs? Do characters change through the course of this book? They come in feeling this way, they leave the book feeling this way. That gives a complete experience to me, and that's hard to do within a 5 or 6 or 14 book series. You want each book to not stand alone, but to make sense as a novel. So it's something I wrestle with, absolutely, because in a really significant way, both of my series, they're one novel, just split into pieces. Like, I don't have big, it's a year after this book, and then you pick up and you go on. It's like, okay, 3 days later, here we go. These are still the same characters we just left. We're moving. Like, you can binge read these really easily because
Oops, sorry, I've lost you again. One moment.
Like, go.
Sorry.
Or Frodo or something in the next book. I'm losing you.
Yeah, quality went a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I got the majority of that hit recorded.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, gotta love Skype, for the international things. Oh man.
It kind of waits, and then it kind of just goes. And then you go back. It's like, this bit's really important, Mark. You need to listen.
Exactly. And I want to tell you what happens at the end. Okay.